Hey, my name is Xsetra. I'm going to be showing you how I make these sounds. Alright, let's get to it. So first, I'll just close all of this shit. We have this serum. Check. Yep. Alright, let's turn everything off here. So basically what I've got going on here is a digital wavetable. It's the FFT adds 2 or seconds. And I've just changed this wet position to around 37%. And I have created this LFO here, this shape. It's just set to 1/4 with this curve. And I've put it on the level of this oscillator. So that's just affecting this much of it. I've also put it on the second wavetable here. We'll get to that in a sec. I've got it on the noise, which the noise is just white noise. And I've turned the stereo width up on that. And it's just on there a tiny little bit, just to give it a little bit of top end. The second wavetable is the same as this, but the WT position is just in a different spot. And that just created a little bit more sub low end on the sound. And it's basically the exact same position on the level. I added a filter, which is just a low pass filter. This same LFO is on the cutoff here. I've turned the resonance up a bit, the fat and the drive, just a slight amount. You get that sound. And that's it for this front section. It's pretty simple. In the effects, I added a low-high splitter straight away. I didn't really change this, I don't think. And on the highs, I put an equalizer. And on the gain knob, I've changed it from this to that, obviously. So it's just a notch. And I fished around for a frequency that I liked. And basically put this same LFO on the gain so it flicks up, which you can see. Then I added a high shelf here. Not much. That's the EQ. With the distortion, I added this diode 2 distortion and the drive amount just a little tiny bit. Get this. That's it for the drive distortion. Then with this convolute, I've added a short convolute, which is the guitar room. I think I fucked around with the size a tiny little bit and the tone. It's probably doing nothing, to be honest. And the IR gain, I think I messed with a little bit here. I think it's usually set in the middle or somewhere close to that position. And I've just turned the mix right down. And what that's doing is basically giving this sound a little kind of space to sit in. It's very subtle. You can barely hear the difference. And that's it for the serum part of things. After that, I put an EQ. I just brought the low end up slightly, and I fished around for this harmonic that I wanted to boost. I put a clipper at the end of that just so everything's getting chopped off, so nothing's going over 0. I changed it to Soft Clip Pro, and that was it. Turned the ceiling on. It's just to cap the sound at 0 dB. Then I put a bit of Valhalla Room on. I've turned the mix right down. The pre-delay I left standard, and I turned the decay down a little bit, so it's just a tiny amount. And I've cut the lows out, so everything below 500 Hz on this sound isn't being effective. It's just the top of the sound that is getting affected. That's all for the reverb. And then I put another clipper right at the end here. I've also got these weird trash to things that destroy the sound. Yeah, it sounds shit, but the reason why I do that is to get those little tails that are right at the end of the sound. There's some cool sounds coming right out of the end that I've resampled, which turn into these sounds. Not that sound. Where is it? Maybe it's here. Yeah, it's these ones. And that is basically the tail end of this distortion, this isotope trash 2 distortion. And I'll demonstrate that now. I'll just open up a new audio track. I will hit resample. I will arm the track and then hit record. Sorry, I'll do that again. Yeah, it's 90% shit, but you get these cool little taily bits here. So if I just chop these, chop that, and see what it sounds like. I'll just bring this sound up. So basically it's the same, these sounds down here that I'm actually using are these sounds up here recorded out from Serum. And yeah, basically all I've done to the sound is put an LFO, or auto filter, and I've drawn some automation on the frequency so it sweeps up. I've also cut the low end out of the sound. I've got a clipper on here and I've boosted the gain. This is just at the start. I've set it to cubic mode. That's probably adding an extra harmonic. It just changed the sound slightly. And I've boosted the gain so we can hear it a bit better. I also have a little bit of a reverb send happening to the sound inside Ableton. So I've got this reverb send here. Those are the settings: 100% mix, a small decay, and cut the lows out about 120. After that, there's this peak. This is on the actual send channel, and I just fished around for a frequency that I liked, basically. If we listen to that, that's what's being added to this channel whenever that sound plays, where I've drawn it. And it just makes the sound quite nice. Whoops. Yeah, and there's also that same section here. So basically the dead space where this just trash is smashing it, you're getting these artifacts. And I've just used those artifacts to create, sounds like that. Anyway, I'll delete that. I'm going to turn trash off. Cool. So next in the list is probably this sound here. Yeah, I basically tried recording this video before, and for some reason Ableton's sound wasn't being recorded, only with my mic. Big what the fuck moment. So I'm kind of working backwards here. Sorry about that. Yeah, so what I did with this serum, I duplicated it. I'll do that now. I duplicated that, and then I bounce track into place, or freeze and flatten if you're on earlier versions of Ableton. And from there, I set the warp mode to Complex Pro, and I hit this twice to get this sound. And I deleted everything else. So if I put this here, looks like I've done something like this. Maybe I went like this. It looks like that. And I just put some fades on it. Might even be further. Maybe I'll write like that. Yeah. And I have sent, I think there's a bit of reverb happening on it. No, what have I got on here? No, that's it. Sounds slightly different, but that's what I did. There's also this here, which is that sound that we just talked about. Nice one. And as you can see, as we're blending all these sounds together, just delete that. You're getting a bit of variation just from one sound. There's another sound in there somewhere, which is this guy. Oops. So again, this sound is an FFT add-ons too. Where's the LFO? So this is the LFO shape. I've put it on the level and on the noise. Just that's the noise I'm using, the organics Hum 1. And I've put it on the filter. So you get that sound. With the effects, I've put a tiny bit of distortion, just a tube, small amount, a little bit of hyperdimension. I turn the size down and the mix. And then I put a bit of reverb on here. I think I've cut the lows 13, probably don't even need to. Set the highs to that number, and I fucked around with the size and the pre-delay. I think maybe a bit of the width. Anyway, those are the settings. And the mix set at that position. Then I've put an equalizer on. I fished around for a frequency I liked, and that's what came out. And that's that sound. Laid in. Sounds pretty cool. Then I duplicated this bass again, which is this guy here. Let's close all these guys down. And I think I've just changed the position of this slightly. I'll just show you now. You know, you get a lot out of this sound. and I don't think anything else I really changed. The effects are basically all the same. Yeah, they are. Haven't changed anything. It's basically that is the only thing that I changed the position of, just to give a A and B switch. Anyway, I hope this video helped. That's how I go about making some basses. Yeah, thanks for watching.